Okay, it's time now. أعوذ بالله من شر الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وصلى الله على رسول الله وعلى آل بيت رسول الله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. So, I'm going to start, inshallah, to tonight's topic, which is how to be well in the month of Shahr Ramadan, by just reflecting a bit on this ayah. It is, I know that everyone, like all of us, we know this ayah, which is in Surah Al-Baqarah, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about fasting. And He says, يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. That fasting was decreed upon you before, as it was decreed upon those before, so that you may become righteous. I just want to focus on this point, and it's going, inshallah, to be a small introduction before I go into the practical points. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about taqwa or righteous, so the purpose of fasting is to achieve taqwa. The purpose of fasting, the purpose of fasting is to reach that level of taqwa. And if you want to understand what does taqwa mean in the Quranic way and not in the way that usually scholars talk about, we just want to understand how the Quran talks about taqwa. Taqwa means that you stop harming. It is to stop harming. It's called kafil adha. So if and it has two sides, to stop harming yourself and to stop harming others, and to stop harming yourself physically, and stop harming yourself, either materialistic or non-materialistic ways. So you have to stop hurting yourself and others in a materialistic way or in a non-materialistic way. And why I'm talking about this while I'm talking about fasting, because the purpose of fasting is to reach a place where you don't harm yourself or you don't harm others. While talking about ourselves, we notice that we do a lot of things that we harm ourselves, either by harming our body or harming our soul. And all of the Islamic traditions and all of the hadith, like we have more than 30,000 hadith in Al Kafi and other books that talks about health and wellness and Islamic lifestyle. All of these hadith is to let us know that we should take care about ourselves. We should take care about ourselves in a different way than we assume. So basically, what I want to say here, if we want to achieve that level of taqwa, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking on both, you want to achieve that level of taqwa, you should start by considering how you stop hurting yourself in first place, which is, as I said, not hurting your own fitra, not hurting your own spirit, and not hurting your own body as well. And if I want to continue to reflect on the other ayah of the Quran, which is directly, like in the ayah that talks about fasting, I'll just take this part from this ayah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about Shahr Ramadan. At the end of this ayah, he says, at the beginning, he says, Shahr Ramadan, الذي أنزل فيه القرآن. The month of Ramadan is that what was the Quran was revealed. And at the end of the ayah, he says, and Allah intends for you ease and does not intend for you hardship. And He wants us to complete the period of fasting, which is 30 days, to glorify Allah, لِتُكَبِّرُ Allah, for that to which He has guided you. So we glorify Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the things that He has guided us to. So if you want to reflect on this ayah, we say, okay, like at the end of Shahr Ramadan, according to this ayah, we should have a lot of good things that happen to us, which is psychologically, which is spiritually, which is physically. So at the end of this month, when we see all of these things that happen to us, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, you will say Allahu Akbar for those things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guided you to. So when I reflect on this ayah, I personally believe, and I see that at the end of this month, I should come up with certain things that I didn't have before Shahr Ramadan. And this training period, 30 days, I will have a lot of ishraqat. I will have a lot of light. I will have a lot of brightness, and I have a new habit. And all of these things that I had, it it will make me say Allahu Akbar for what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guided me through. So why I am talking about this when I'm talking about fasting and about how to be healthy in Shahr Ramadan, because talking about this, make me say why I want to do this seminar, like why this webinar, why we want to talk about this, because talking about these issues is really fits, or it is really linked to the purpose of our existence. If we just want to see ourselves that we are just bodies, that we just want to eat and sleep and drink, then we are away from our purpose of existence. So if I know why I am here, if I know why I exist, if I my purpose of existence is really clear in front of me, which is reaching that ultimate destination, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then I know that in order to reach that place, I should take care of my body and my soul at the same time, because my body is the vehicle for my soul. I cannot reach my ultimate destination, my spiritual goals, my perfection in life. I cannot reach all of these things if I have a weak body and I have a weak soul. And in order to reach these things, in order to reach my ultimate destination, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I have to take the two sides of me, or the two sections of me, my body and my spirit together. And I cannot reach any of my spiritual goals if I don't take really take good care of my body. That's why our scholars, our Arafa, our, they say that a real mu'min, a real believer, cannot leave his body weak. If you are a real mu'min, if you are a good mu'min, a good believer, you have to take care of your body. Why? Because your body is the vehicle to your soul, which is the soul definitely is going to reach the ultimate destination, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But we need the body. We have really to focus on this. We should not underestimate the importance of our bodies, the importance of the Islamic lifestyle, the importance of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet and the Ahlul Bayt have told us to do according to the Islamic rituals, lifestyle, how to eat, how to drink, what to eat, what to drink, when to sleep. All of these lifestyle are really important to take me to my ultimate destination. I can talk more about it. There's a lot to say, but I want to keep it short. Um, so I'm just going to focus, I'm just going to say this point really quickly. So if we see Imam al-Rida alayhi salam in his medical dissertation, when Al-Ma'mun asked him to write something to him about health, he said, واعلم يا أمير المؤمنين أن قوة النفوس تابعة لأمزجة الأبدان. What does this mean? He says, no, commander of faith, he's talking that the strength of the soul follows the tempers of the body, and the tempers depends on many other things. But what I want to say here is that Imam Rida is saying, if you want to have a strength in your soul, you should really take care of your body, because how your body is going to act, how your body is going, what you are going to feed your body is going to affect your soul. So other thing that I want to mention here, it's also another hadith for Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, when he says, like too much sleep is brought about, that comes, like too much sleep comes from excess drink, from too much drinking water. Excess drinking is brought about, is caused by being full, excessively satiated. Both of these things, like having too much sleep, having too much drink, having too much food, all of these things, as Imam Sadiq says, they weigh heavily on the self. يثقلان النفس عن الطاعة. Like you cannot do your obedience, you cannot do your a'mal, you cannot do your whatever you want to do in your way to perfection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says that too much sleep, too much drink, too much food, those things, they really weigh heavily on the self. Why? And keep it from obedience, and they harden the heart, and they will not allow the heart to have humility and reflection. So that's why these are important reasons why we don't have obedience sometimes, why sometimes our hearts are not softened. That's why we have a lot of ahadith that says, if you eat this, Like if you eat lentils, you will have a soft heart, you will have tears. If you eat a lot of meat, you will have like a hard heart, and your heart will not feel soft, you will not cry, you will not have, all of these spiritual experiences. So what I want to say here is that our imams and Rasulullah and all of these, they have clarified for us what we are supposed to do, and all of these things, they have their effect on the body and on the soul at the same time. So sometimes we think that, okay, people who talk about taking care about their health, they are just, like, for example, here in the Western society, they just take care about, like, I want to look good, I want to live more, but they don't really correlate it and link it to the purpose of existence. We have a bigger purpose here. We are not here just to eat, sleep, and drink. We are here to achieve our ultimate goals, to reach Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's why we have to consider these things. We don't talk about these things. We are not paying attention to these things just from a materialistic point of view, but because we are correlating it to our akhirah. We want to be this human being that is going to benefit, not only to live, but to live in for his full potential. I don't want to just live normally. I want to be that human being, that Khalifatullah, that he's going and he's capable to do this earth a better place through whatever lifestyle, Islamic lifestyle, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he wants us to live. So another thing, Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says to Kumail in his wasiyah to Kumail, he says, "O Kumail, the tongue relieves that which is in the heart, and the heart survives on food. So look on what you are nourishing your heart and body with." So here Imam Ali alayhi salam, he's pointing a really good point that, whatever is in your heart, whatever is in your heart, it comes from food. And with the thing that we don't know, actually the food is that, after the digestion of the food, we will have an essence. We will have like a byproduct, and we call those things ojas. Like it is the byproduct of the food, and this byproduct is going to enter the blood and it's going to nourish the heart. So whatever we eat is going to affect our hearts. So now we are in Shahr Ramadan, and basically what we strive for in this month is that we want to be more active. We want to be more spiritually alert. We want to have more, obedience to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. We want to feel more humble. We cannot eat meat every day, and we want to have these things. So that's why the point that I'm trying to make here is that we should not underestimate the importance of food to take us to our goal, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is the basic. If you see the ulama of akhlaq, when they talk about these things, they say that food and managing the body tempers, when you know your body, when you manage it, is the basic of ilm al akhlaq. If you have if you are a fiery person, and if you eat a lot of spices, for example, you are going to end up Shahr Ramadan screaming on your family. So now we want to really focus on the importance of food and a lifestyle, so we can achieve the best of Shahr Ramadan. It is a one-time opportunity in a year. We don't want to just use it anything, or like we just want to do anything. No, we want to make the best out of it. We don't know if we are going to live for the other Shahr Ramadan. It's a great opportunity that we are living at this time. So by controlling all of these things, why I want to talk about food, why I want to talk about drinks and lifestyle, one of the major purposes for that is that when I control my food, and when I control what I drink, what I eat, how I sleep, all of these things, I make my nafs under the control of the body. And we know that human beings, they have the senses, they have their if I want to say, their animal part, and they have their a human part, or their malaika part. So the animal part is that always fulfilled by the senses. He wants to eat, he wants to drink, he wants to sleep. This is the senses part. But this is just an animal part. So if I want to take myself into a higher level, I want to make my soul in control. So when I tell myself I should not eat this and I should do this and I should sleep at this time, then I am making my nafs under the control of my soul. So my body now and my nafs, they are not in control. I am saying to them, stop, I am the soul here and I can take care of my body and I want to do what's right for me. So probably, and why we end up in having diseases and why we end up in having a lot of problems in our health and psychological well-being is that because our senses and our bodies and our nafs is dominating over our soul. So if I see something I'm not supposed to eat, fatty food, fried food, sodas, too much of sugars, I sleep, I till I wake up till late night. If I do that, if I continue to eat this food and I continue to eat it, which means that my soul is so weak, and my nafs and my body and my animal part is dominating over my soul part. So here comes the importance of Shahr Ramadan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this 30 days training period, He's saying to us, you are going to enter a training period. It's like someone is going to enter a gym and he wants to strengthen his muscles, and he's going to do weightlifting, for example. He has to do this on a regular basis. At the end of his training period, he would say, yes, I have achieved it, I made it. So as if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, reflecting on the ayah of Surah Al-Baqarah, He wants to say to us, you have entered a training period of 30 days. And in 30 days, your soul should be dominating over everything. And once this done, at the end, what happened is that your muscles will be built up at the end of this month, the end of this training, you will have the muscles. The muscles for what? The muscles to change the rest of your life. That's why the taqwa that we achieve in those 30 days is the charge, is the energy that we need for the whole year. And this is not only for the spiritual part or the psychological part, but also for the physical part. If we enter a 30 days of training period where we eat clean food, healthy food, we do all of the Islamic rituals, then it is a great opportunity to change. We change all that. And at the end, we go out of this month and we have a lot of muscles. A lot of muscles for what? To live healthy for the rest of the year. Because if we live healthy for 1 month, then it means that we can live healthy for the rest of the year. So it is the month of resolutions, not the month of just the spiritual resolutions, the akhlaq resolutions, but also the physical resolutions. I want to change my habits. I want to change my lifestyle because this training period is going to make me better for the rest of the year. If someone who cannot change in this training period, it doesn't mean that he cannot change, but this is the best opportunity he can do. And why? Because usually the food that we eat changes, like it changes the body every 30 days. What I mean to say is that we are creating our realities every 30 days. So whatever we eat is going to make a change in our body. So if I'm now at the beginning of Shahr Ramadan and I started to eat healthy for 1 month, after 1 month, I am going to have a completely different body. It's not the sick body anymore. It's not the body that's full with pain, heaviness, all of these things. No, it is going to be very healthy just by 30 days of changing. And once we change in these 30 days and we reach that, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says you are going to have a lot of to glorify Allah for what He has guided you. لِتُكَبِّرُوا اللَّهَ عَلَى مَا هَدَاكُمْ. One of those things we are going to feel that our bodies, they are so light, they are so healthy, that you are feeling good. It's not how much we weigh, how much our weight is, but how much we feel light, how much we are energetic, how much we are sharp, how much we can learn, how much We don't wake up lazy. So all of these things, if we follow a healthy regimen in Shahr Ramadan, after Shahr Ramadan, you are going to feel all of that. And then you will say, I cannot be back to my old lifestyle because I have seen what it means to be healthy, what it feels to be light. Anyone has any question till now? Everything is fine? Can I continue? Anything till now? Am I moving fast? Any comment? Anything? Everything's fine? Okay, I'm supposed that everything is fine, and I'm going to continue. Okay. Um, so after this 1 month of purification, the spiritually and physically, we should develop the willpower, the mental strength, and the resilience, and we should keep those habits. This is the purpose of Shahr Ramadan. Always remember this. It's a training period for our spirits and our bodies at the same time. At the end of Shahr Ramadan, our spirit should be dominating. That soul that makes you wake up for Fajr prayer or that makes you do like whatever a'mal in the middle of the night is the same soul that is going to tell you don't eat this because it's harmful for you. So during this time, we are going to develop both, purifications, and then at the end of the month, it's the same spirit that's going to tell you you should not eat this and do this. So basically, they say if still you are eating bad things or not healthy things, or still you are doing something to harm your body, always remember that your soul didn't reach that place to control your nafs or to control your body. Once we reach that stage where our soul is controlling, then we can achieve anything we want. You can wake up in the middle of night for Salat al-Lail. You can wake up anytime for Fajr prayer. You can do anything you want. Why? Because now your spirit is strong. That's why we talk about food. It is part of this. So now we know that the benefits of fasting. I made this introduction. I know maybe it's long for you, but there's a whole seminar has been done on that part. For those who want that seminar, if they want to know all of the details, please contact me so I send them the information. So benefits of fasting, we know that it's a natural cleanse. If you are doing it the right way during this month, at the end of this month, you can say, I have detoxed my body. There's no more toxins in my body, but there's a condition that you should do it in a healthy way. You should eat in a healthy way. So we know that the benefits of fasting is that it's a natural cleanse and it kindles the digestion. What I mean by that is that there's a saying in the Western nutrition books or whatever beliefs. They say you are what you eat. But in the traditional medicine, whether the Islamic or the Ayurvedic or any traditional medicine, we are not only what we eat, but we are what we digest, for a reason that if I eat a very healthy meal, but I cannot digest it well. I have problems in my digestion. I have gas. I have bloating. I have constipation. My stomach doesn't digest well. I have ulcer. I have all of these things. Then I'm not going to benefit from this meal. So before knowing what to eat and that you are not what you eat, you are what you digest. So if I don't have a good digestion, then I'm not going to benefit from what I'm eating. And this is a main principle in traditional medicine. So if our digestive fire is low, if you eat something and it's not digested, then instead of ingesting and digesting your food, you will be accumulating toxins and digesting toxins. And this will accumulate until it reach a place where we call it disease. So basically, diseases start from digestion. So what I want to say here is that by fasting, when we fast, The digestive organs, which are the largest organs in the body, which they require really a huge amount of energy. When we fast, we are going to give that resting period for the digestive system. And what happens after that is that energy is going to be used for something else, which is called healing. So by freeing up this energy, we are going to improve the digestion. Now there's no too much food that's going in the stomach for I don't know how many times a day. We are going to burn away the toxins, and we are going to support a strong immune system. And that's why now we are in the corona time. Part of supporting a strong immune system is by fasting. It's not by eating too much food. So at the end of this, when we fast and our digestion becomes really better, the body feels lighter, the mind becomes clear and more focused. It's not about the physical parts only. That's what I'm trying to stress on. It's not how only your body feels, but if you can notice how the mind becomes very clear. I want to encourage you to do this 30-day healthy eating during Ramadan. And at the end of the month, you can see how your mind is behaving. You will have a clear thinking, you will have clear thoughts. Your mind will not be wandering like a monkey from one branch to another, and you cannot focus on the prayer just because of whatever you have eaten during this month. So after we do that, after our body feels light, the mind becomes more clear. We can connect to ourselves, and this is part of why we do fasting, because it is going to connect us with ourselves. And then when we know ourselves, then we know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's going to increase our spiritual growth and openness. And this has just happened by fasting, you know. But there's a condition here that once we break our fast, we should know what to eat. Otherwise, it will not be considered a good fasting, because the purpose of fasting is to get rid of the toxins. And we know that toxins, when they accumulate in the tissues and the cells, they will accumulate in the mind too. They will affect your spiritual growth too. So, being said that, um, if fasting has many benefits, why we don't see these benefits, why we don't feel those benefits at the end of the month? It is because that we are not doing it right. We are not doing the fasting right, and we are not doing the iftar right. We are not breaking our iftar in a good way. So that's why learning how to fast is really important, because the body is so smart, is much smarter than us, and he knows how to heal itself. And all what the body does and all of the body wants during this month is saying, please let me eat what is nourishing, what is good, so I heal myself. We don't need a lot of doctors. We don't need doctors too much. We don't need a lot of herbs, even supplements, even a lot of whatever thing you could think about, even herbs themselves. We just need food, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created. So we nourish our bodies, and then at the end of this month, the body will heal itself. He has this capacity to heal itself. This is how smart Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this wise creator, Allah al-Alim, al-Hakim, has created our bodies to be able to cleanse itself, just having, just by fasting, but taking into consideration that we have to follow, like a healthy lifestyle, an Islamic lifestyle. Let me say that I focus too much on the Islamic lifestyle because, as I said at the beginning, we have in our cafe in Kutub al Ahadith 30,000 hadith on the Islamic lifestyle, on how to eat and drink and sleep. And as Rasulullah says, that knowledge is two parts, the ilmul abdan and the ilmul adyan. So knowledge is two parts, knowing your body and knowing the religion. So he's saying that you should know your bodies. You should know what to eat, how to sleep. Why? Because it's going to lead us to our destination. So now taking it into a more practical, more the practical side. So how do we get the benefits of fasting? So I just want to see if anyone has any question or something. Anything? Um, okay, that's good. So it means that I can continue. And at the end, I can answer all the questions, inshallah. How we start? Like, how do we start? How do we benefit from fasting? To be honest, it starts with the first bite, because um, what matters is the intention. So how what do I mean by that? So it's obvious that when we are fasting, and we know it's even now we are fasting, I don't know, for 14, 16 hours, we get hungry. So the first thing we think about is that we have to eat. So at this point, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like, He knows how weak we are and that we should eat. And He said, okay, you can eat before prayer if you are tired, but at least have your connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the first bite. That's why we have all of these recommendations and Mafatih al Jinan to do what to do in the first bite, like what dua you recite, like reading Surah Al Qadr, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness. And this is, we correlate it with what Rasulullah has said to Abu Dhar in his wasiyah, which is recommended, which is many scholars they recommend that we read. Um, he says to his Abu Dhar, لِيَكُنْ لَكَ فِي كُلِّ شَيْءٍ نِيَّةٌ. You should have an intention in everything you do. And then he continues, even in drinking and eating. So حتى في الأكل والشرب, you should have an intention. Even in drinking and eating, you should have an intention. So if we just take this bite and we just gulp it and throw it in our stomachs because we are hungry, we we missed something out of that. We missed something out of the purpose of fasting. So the first thing is that starts with the first bite, make that connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and remember that what Imam Qasim alayhi salam says, on the time of iftar, those who were fasting have one answered prayer. So before starting the first morsel, reflect on that and make your intention that I am eating because I want to be a stronger human being, that a strong believer, that I want to be living to make this earth a better place. So or I'm eating because I want to have good energy to pray, or I want to do salat al-lail, or I want to serve people, or I want to do this. So always connect whatever we are doing with that, divine, intention, which is it's for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then if you start by this way, which is when you reflect on the small things that you do, then at the end you will be reflecting on those big things. So it starts with those small things. No one underestimate, oh, it's just a bite. No, this bite, this is small simple things, if we sum it up, at the end we will notice that, I'm doing this for Allah, this is for Allah. We are strengthening our intentions. So it starts with here, with the first bite. And then now, we want to break our fast. Usually we have so much hadith on that. And the prophet, there's one hadith of the prophet that the best thing to break your fast is on dates. And the best thing to break our fast is by drinking a cup of water, warm water with dates. And some people will be thirsty and they want, to drink cold water, but later we will talk about the disadvantages for that. So having a cup of warm water will warm the body. Why I am saying that? Because everything has a nature. Everything we do, we eat, we say, has a nature. So our bodies has a nature. Probably one of us is like, fiery person. One of us, another person is airy person. So, but what I want to say is that even actions, they have nature. And the nature of fasting is a cold nature. The nature of fasting is cold. It's like the nature of sleeping. When you sleep, it's a cold nature. When you fast, it's a cold nature. So when I fast and it has a cold nature, it makes my body cold. So I have to break my fast on something warm in order to balance that. And this is the principle that is the foundation of all traditional medicine. I have to treat things with their opposites. If I want to break my fast, I cannot break it on a cold water. Otherwise, I cause myself more coldness. And if coldness increases in the body, then it could lead to death one day. So um, uh, the best thing is to start to drink breaking the fast with start breaking the fast with a cup of warm water and with dates. Um, you can have as much as you want from dates. There's no restrictions on that. It depends on the body types, but what I say is that follow your own instinct, your own body signals. If your body says he wants to have more sweets, which means he needs the sweets, exception if you have diabetes or something like that. So having a cup of warm water, breaking it with dates is the first thing to do for iftar, because dates is going to enter with this warm water and it's going to be easily digested and quickly absorbed. So we gain a lot of energy after that. You notice if you have this cup of warm water with dates, then you will be feeling full for the first 15-20 minutes. So, and you will have an energy to pray, to do other things. And if you do this, then you can have your prayer at the beginning. And you can take your time in the prayer because you are not feeling really hungry because of the dates. And also for those people who feel really hungry, they cannot just survive on the warm water and the dates. They can have soup, they can have dried fruits too, they can have honey with warm water, except especially if you are a watery type, like if you are bulk, you have a lot of fat in your system. If you add honey to warm water, then it's going to be a natural cleanse. So remember that analogy when our grandfather and grandmother and me and my mother, if you wanna, and you too, if you wanna clean something with a sticky fat, you just put it on a stove with water so it boils. So it's the same thing. If you have a lot of fat you wanna get rid of, it's good to add some, honey to warm water, and this warm water is going to just, eliminate all of this fat. At the same way, we clean our utensils. So this is the way we break our fast. So after breaking our fast, um, um, there's a big mistake that people do here is that when they have cold water for breaking the fast, and this is you can see in Mafatih al-Jinan. Now, if you open Mafatih al-Jinan later and you see the recommendations for iftar, it says you have to have iftar on warm water because warm water damages the liver, especially if you do it the first thing. It is really damaging for the liver. So drinking ice water or any other kind of any other thing that has a cold nature, such as watermelon, for example, yogurt. All of these things they are not good to have first thing when you open your iftar because they have a coldy nature. So this cold nature is going to cause problems in the liver, which is cause also digestive problems. It causes gallstones, fatty liver, and many other diseases. So please pay attention for these things. No cold water, opening always by warm water. As we said, breaking the fast with warm water is going to prepare the stomach, and we don't want to have a full heavy meal right away. So after 14, 16 hours of fasting, the stomach is feeling so light. If we just, after the adhan, you just want to gulp a huge meal of rice and meat, then the stomach will be shocked. It is in a weak state. So you should kindle your digestion. You should kindle your stomach with giving it light food at the beginning. So that's why if you eat, for example, a heavy meal at the beginning without preparing your stomach, you will feel heavy, you will feel full, you will not be able to pray. You will not be able to have suhoor. If you don't have suhoor, you will feel hungry during the day. All of that starts with the first bite. So that's why it's important to have to start um, your breaking the fast with warm water and not with a heavy meal. And by doing this, um, remember we are always connecting it to our bigger purpose, which is Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. It's not about being hungry or not. It's not about what is more healthy. I know it's important, but now we are connecting it to our spiritual health, because you cannot be healthy if you are not connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No matter what you do for your health, even if you follow many Islamic recommendations, if we are not connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we will not be healthy, because health comes from this sense of connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when we are saying what we do is focusing on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when I'm saying, okay, if I have warm water with dates at the beginning, then I can go to pray because I have energy now with the warm water. If I can add honey to it, I can add saffron, I can add chia seeds, whatever I want. For those Iranians, they have this thing kejavin drink. So with the dates, I'm going to have a lot of energy. So I can do my prayers quietly, slowly, without feeling hungry. Because trust me, if you have the dates and the cup of warm water, you will not feel hungry for 15 to 20 minutes. So you could do your prayers really in a slow way, without thinking, without rushing, without thinking of food, without being hungry. And the other reason for that is that we are not supposed to drink liquids after we are not supposed to eat anything after we drink liquid. So if now we have a cup of warm water, we should not eat anything for 15 to 20 minutes until this water goes. Otherwise, if we have water and then we eat, then the food that we are going to eat is not going to be digested well. So this is a rule from the Islamic hadith, that we should not eat anything after we drink liquid, or we should not drink liquid after we eat anything. There is always should be a separation between liquids and solids. And I can give you a very common sense analogy here. If I'm eating something, if I ate a meal and then I eating, basically, if the meal goes in my stomach, then it's time for digestion. And digestion means fire, and it means that something is burning and cooking my food. So if I eat this meal and it's digesting, if it's getting digested in my stomach, and if I just put liquid on the top of that, I am going to stop that fire which is digesting. I'm going to hurt my stomach. That's why, if you notice that if you have a meal and you drink water after that, you will not feel good. You will feel heavy, you will feel pain in your stomach, you will feel that there's something sitting, you will feel problems in digestion. It's just because you gummed a little bit of water after food. So that's why when we have this water, with warm water with dates, keep that space, go pray, you will not feel hungry, and then you can be back for your meal. In this way, you kindled your digestion, you didn't put a lot of stress on the stomach, you did your prayer quietly, and you prevented gastric problems, constipation, colon issues, just by having this small routine, which is very easy to do. So this is step number 3. After we break our fast with water, warm water, and dates, we keep a space, we go to pray, we get the spiritual energy, and now it is time to have our meal. So according to Islamic traditions, it is really important to have your food while sitting down. And I didn't put here the hadith that says and talks about this. I just get I whatever is written on the in the slides is from the modern medicine studies. They said, the modern research, they say if you eat while sitting on the floor, it will help your digestion, it will prevent overeating, it prevents pain of the varicose veins, and it will help in correcting the body's alignment. You will not have problems in your back. So, and this is, I repeat it again, it is from the modern research. So that's why we know now why, when we go and reflect why Rasulullah used to eat on while he was sitting on the floor, we know because of these purposes. And if we reflect on all of the actions that's done by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we see that they definitely have a reason for that. Why we don't drink water at night while we are standing. It has a reason, because it causes knee pain. And it's the same here. Why we eat while sitting on the floor? Because it has all of these benefits, which you don't get if you eat on the table. So, keep this in mind. I know in Gulf areas or, other areas, they have this habit, which is really a habit, from Rasulullah, and it's really good, and they should keep it up. So we should consider that having our meals on the floor set up. And now it's time to eat after you set up your meal. And here's a general rule that applies to every time and everywhere that when we talk about food. And this is general rule that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about in the Quran. And He says, وَكُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا وَلَا تُسْرِفُوا. Eat and drink and don't do it in excess. Because He does not like those people who do it in excess. إِنَّهُ لَا يُحِبُّ الْمُسْرِفِينَ. So even in drinking and eating, there is a general rule is to avoid overeating. And that's the problem that we don't pay attention to, especially in Shahr Ramadan. And I always say that Shahr Ramadan is not a time for eating, it's time for fasting. So as much as low you can go on food, as much you can do favor for yourself. So that's why sometimes I get surprised by all of these, especially ladies who they think so much, like from the beginning of the morning, like what do I want to eat, what do I want to do, and they stay a lot of time in the kitchen and they prepare different kinds of food. And we always forget Shahr Ramadan is not for eating, it's for fasting. So we should like make a small shift in our conscious that the less food we eat, the less amount, the less quantity, the less variations in the same meal, the more it's better for us. And that's one way to open our spiritual channels to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is if you see the books of scholars, they say if you want to reach Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fast, you could do that by eating less, sleeping less, and talking less. And this is the month of Ramadan: eating less, sleeping less, and talking less to other people except to Allah. So we should always think about that. Overeating is a problem. And here we should always remember what Imam Ali alayhi salam said: eat when you are hungry and stop eating when you still have an appetite, when you are not full yet. نحن قوم لا نأكل حتى نجوع وإذا أكلنا لا نشبع. So if we want to eat, okay, we don't eat unless we are hungry. Sometimes in Shahr Ramadan, if you have your warm water and dates, you will not feel hungry, for example, for a half an hour. Don't go eat just because it's time for eating, unless people are waiting for you, of course. But if you are don't feeling hungry, don't eat until you are hungry, even if you are fasting the whole day, because we have to learn how to listen to our bodies. We have to learn that when our bodies say, okay, now you are hungry, which means I have to give him food. If he's craving something sugary, I have to give him sugar from the right source. So whatever the body says, he's clever. He's telling me what he needs. I have to listen to that. And once I ate my iftar, which we are going to talk about the food, I should stop when I am 75% full. And this is, I said, this is the hadith of Imam Ali, and this is the also Rasulullah. He says, like you have to keep your stomach for three things: the food, the water, and the air. If you put 100% food, then you are not able to breathe. Then after iftar, what will happen is that you will not be able to read dua al-iftitah or do any, extra rak'at or do any dua or something or any nawafil, because you will be laying on that couch, tired, not able to breathe, and sleep. You just want to sleep. And I think all of us, I think we have experienced this feeling that after eating, we don't want to do anything. And I'm telling you from experience, if you make your food less and you don't put water on the top of that, you will not get this feeling. You will feel light even if you have eaten, if you don't eat until you're full, and then you will have the energy to do many other things as if you have never eaten. So this is a great advice that if you want to if you want to not do anything from this seminar, from this webinar, and just focus on this thing, and will be enough, because Imam Ali alayhi salam says, In this ayah, كُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا وَلَا تُسْرِفُوا, eat and drink and don't do it in excess, he said that in this ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has combined all medicine. جُمِعَ الطُّبُّ كُلُّهُ في هذه الآية. So in this ayah, it's not an ayah, it's part of an ayah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has summed up the essence and the root of medicine. If you want to stay healthy, you don't want doctors, stop eating before you are feeling full, and don't eat when you are hungry. And and this is also, since we are connecting everything to our spiritual path and to our ultimate destination, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we should know that putting food on the top of the food, or eating food if we are not hungry, it will causes the heart to be dull. It will causes the heart to be stupid, you know. And this is, it says in one of the hadith, one of the Arba'una hadith, it is explained there that if you eat food and not if you are not and you are not hungry, then it is going to cause you to be, like, to have mental issues, and not to have wisdom, and it's going to block our spiritual path. So this is really important. So um, after that, after we have, this general rule, we want to now know what do we want to eat, because here is another problem. Now, okay, we know that I should eat only when I'm hungry, and I should stop before being full, but actually, um, I have a problem in the meal that I am eating. If my meal is full of fat, is so fatty, is so sugary, is full of many, not clean things, then I'm not going to achieve much from the natural cleanse, which is I'm supposed to do in this month. So that's why we focus on eating slow digesting food instead of food that digest quickly. And I'm going to give you some examples for that. We know that food is divided into three parts. So we have a slow digesting food. When we eat it, it's going to be digested really slowly. And if it's going to be digested slowly, then it's going to enter our digest our bloodstream slowly, so we don't feel tired after eating those. An example of that is the barley, the wheat, the whole wheat, the oats, the whole flour, the brown rice, the beans, the lentils, the fruits, and the vegetables. And all of these foods, they are called the pure food, which we call them the divine food that is made by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without any modification. It is the whole divine food, a smart food, that it is going to know what to do when it enters my body. And on the other side, I have a food which has been modified by human beings for a business reasons, that it is so dumb that when it gets into my body, it doesn't know what to do, and it's going to cause problems and harm more. So that's why we have to focus on these issues, whole things, eating whole things. There's one exception concerning the rice in Shahr Ramadan, that we can have white basmati rice because it is easy on digestion. It's better than the brown rice. But in general, having these things like more of the lentils, more of the beans, more of the veggies, more of the whole wheat thing is really good. And there's another slow digesting food which is really helps in feeling full for a longer time, which are the nuts, the seeds, the eggs, the beans, the meat, the fish. All of these things we are allowed to have them in Shahr Ramadan. It's not that if it is a spiritual month, then we should stay away from meat or anything like that. It is about the quality of it, So if I could have my regular eating I could have my regular eating patterns, or my regular dishes. I could have the same dishes that I cook them, but now I just changed the quality. I changed the salt. It's not a table salt anymore full of chemicals. It is just a sea salt from the sea to my table. It is not a sugar, refined sugar with all of the toxins. It's just a cane sugar from the cane root to my table. So what if we focus on these things, we could have the same meal that we cook every Ramadan, every day, every Shahr Ramadan, and every day, but we are just changing the way we are cooking it. We are changing the oil. It is not the canola oil anymore. Um, it is not the hydrogenated vegetable oils that we use. It's not corn oil. It's not safflower oil. It's not canola oil. It is now olive oil. It is coconut oil. It is ghee. It is avocado oil. It's any oil which is healthy. So that's why focusing on these things is important. Um, and we could keep the same meal. It is the same recipe that you used to do, but now we are just changing the quality of it. That's what we should do. We should be less on frying. Instead of frying the chicken, instead of frying the meat, instead of frying the fish, I could do it baked. I could do it, I don't know, sauteed. I could do it in any other way. So still we can have the same thing. So a fast digesting food are those foods who they are going to be digested really fast in my digestive tract, and then they are going to raise up the sugar really high, and after that I am going to feel sleepy after it. So that's why they are going to be digested in 3 to 4 hours, and the other slow digesting food is going to take you 8 hours to be digesting it. So if you digest by 3 to 4 hours, then you are going to feel hungry after just a few period of time. That's why some people who have their iftar after 2 hours they get hungry, because they are eating something which is very fast in digestion. And in addition to that, it's going to cause for them laziness, sleepiness, tiredness. They won't be able to be awake, for example, to do worship. Maybe they will be awake to watch TV because they just can't sit, but they won't have energy to do anything else. That's why we see some people, they eat and they sleep right away. And this is really an alarming sign that they have a problem in the food they are eating. After food, you should not feel that. You should feel energized. So that's, as a bottom line here, we wanna focus in this month on the same food that we usually eat: the beans, the meat, the fish, the chicken, and the vegetables. But we are going to focus on it, like to do it in a more healthy way. Change the oils that we are using, change the salt that we are using, use more whole things. If I'm going to make something with bread, let me make it whole bread, not from refined wheat. All of this, they have effect. Those who few who love to have more information about this, there's a huge information in a different seminar. I don't want to go more in details because of the time. Um, so what are the things that I should avoid on my iftar? Definitely, they are the fried and fatty foods. I don't know if we have people here from, Pakistan, or those who have like chapatis, and in Bahrain they have a lot of samosas. I know this is too much fried food. This is too much fatty food. I could have it one in a week. I could have it once in a while. But if I have it every day, I'm going to put so much stress on my liver, and my liver is not going to detox anymore. Let me tell you just a short story. It happened with my friend back in Bahrain. She just consulted me because she had a fatty liver, and she went to the doctor and she made an ultrasound, and her liver was so bulky. The liver was so like enlarged in size. And when I just prescribed the diet plan for her, she was doing really good. She was eating a lot of the healthy stuff, and the liver detoxified itself by itself. Just after a few months later, she told me, I went to the doctor and I repeated the ultrasound, and he told me that, what did you do? If he Because he said, if I know that you came to me before and I did the ultrasound for you, and I believe that, but otherwise, if I didn't do it myself, I wouldn't believe it. So what I want to say is that the liver has the ability to detoxify itself in a 30 period of time. If I put a lot of fried food and fatty food and too much sugar, and then it's not going to make the detoxification process. I am going to make and cause more problems on my liver. And that's the thing that I don't want. I want to detoxify, to cleanse. Shahr Ramadan is the month of cleansing on all aspects. So these are the things that should I avoid, and I keep this on mind when I eat these kind of foods: fried food, fatty foods, too much sugary foods, too much sweets, desserts, incompatible foods together. Sometimes we have milk and bananas together. Sometimes we have yogurt with meat together. All of this, they don't fit. So when I eat these kind of things, let me always remember that I am causing more harm to my liver than I am causing good to my liver. And then I should stop eating that, because I will have problems of indigestion, heartburn, weight problems. And then at the end of the month, I will not feel any of those lightness and brightness that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said He has guided us to. So we have to rethink about our eating habits. I assure you of that. So now, after I'm not able to read all of your chats and messages, inshallah, later on. So, so um, that's the things that we should avoid on iftar. Now, let me tell you something else, that it's not about also what to eat, it's about how to eat. We usually, at the time of iftar, what happens is that we just want to eat because we are hungry, and we rush this, we do it very fast. And this is really and highly unrecommended in Islamic traditions and in the hadith. I didn't put a lot of hadith here because there's no time for that. But if you just review a bit of sunan of the Prophet habits, how he used to eat, sleep, and all of the mustahabbat that we have, and all of the hadith that I mentioned, like 30,000 something in Al Kafi, you will see that they focus on the way how we eat. We should eat in a very calm place, in a comfortable place. Never if we are upset. We should eat slowly. And of course, we should eat while we are sitting. The main problem that we have in Shahr Ramadan, which I believe it is the main issue, is that we don't eat slowly, we eat really fast. And we should try to develop a habit that eating really slowly is really important. It's really important for the digestion, it's really important for many, many aspects. So some of the traditions, they say that you have to bite your food 30 bites. Like each morsel you have to bite it 30 times. And some other, like Indian medicine, they say you have to bite each morsel as the number of the teeth that you have. So I don't know how many teeth we have, we should almost more than 30. So like we should bite at the same thing. So eating slowly is really important, because you are going to help your stomach in digesting the food. You are not gulp it, so you give big chunks to the stomach. And another reason for that is, when you eat fast, you put a lot of air in your system. So if you are eating fast, then a lot of air comes. You will gulp a lot of air, and this problem will lead to a lot of air in your system. And if there's a lot of air in your system, then you won't be able to focus on your salat. Then you will not be able to focus on your in your dua, because too much air in the system, it will make your mind wandering all the time. And thus, if you eat like quickly, then you are affecting the way you are going to concentrate in your salah and your dua. And I'm trying here to correlate everything I say with our ultimate destination. It is important to take care of our bodies for that really good person and good purpose. So now you had your iftar, which is supposedly to be, healthy, and we have to remember, and healthy, and not eating until you are full. Like you should always move away from food when you just want to eat. You still want to eat, you just move away. So now, after your iftar, what the biggest mistake that we do is that we just gulp water right away. And this is one of the biggest mistakes that we do. So avoid drinking water after your food, because this will affect your digestion. And it's not here, I have a mistake, it's not for 3 hours. Avoid drinking water for half an hour after your food. So if you have something, if you have eaten something, you should not put any type of water on the top of that for half an hour to 40 minutes. So it's the same, for the same reason I said before, is that if you are digesting your food, then it is fire. If you put water on the top of that, then you are stopping your digestion. If you stop your digestion, then this food is going to be rotten, is going to be not digested, it's going to be turned into toxins. And then toxins is going to be circulated in your blood, and this is will cause you disease. So that's why here we talked about the importance of digestion. Please keep this in mind. And I really recommend you to try this for one time because you will feel a huge difference. Just wait for 30 minutes after your food and don't have any water. You will feel a huge difference. I guarantee that. So this is concerning after your iftar. And now we come to another problem, which is between the iftar and the suhoor. Usually in our normal days, we are most of us like we have this habit of snacking and eating between the meals, which is really a very big mistake that we do, and it's according to Imam al-Rada the causes of the disease. He says in his medical dissertation that putting food on the top of the food is a cause for disease. So in normal days or in Shahr Ramadan, usually what we do is that we have our meal, and then after half an hour we snack on something. We eat a fruit, we eat, I don't know, a veggie, we eat snacks, we eat, I don't know, nuts or anything like that. But we should not put anything in our stomachs before the other meal has been digested. And this is a basic rule in medicine, and this is essential. And I told you this is mentioned by Imam Rada alayhi salam that putting um, food on the top of the food is a cause of diseases. So after my iftar, I should not be eating anything for at least 3 4 hours, depending on the food that I have eaten. So it is totally a big mistake if I eat something right away after my iftar, like after 1 hour or after half an hour or after even 2 hours. So at least you should keep a space of 3 hours between your whatever meal. Even in your regular days, please, if you could have this as a habit, that once you have your breakfast, don't eat anything until lunch. You could just have water, and between lunch and dinner you eat nothing, just water or teas or something like that. So between the iftar of the suhoor, if you pass the 3 4 hours and you are still awake, you could have fruits and fruit juices. But the best thing that you could have is water. So my recommendations, which I really believe in, is that between your iftar and suhoor you should only have water. You should not have any other meal, because are going to have a suhoor after a few hours, which is so basically you will be ending up eating all day, all night. And the other issue is that night is not for eating. And here I want to mention a point that digestion stops after 10 p.m. After 10 p.m., you will not be doing any digestion. So if you will be eating a meal at 12 a.m., it will stay in your stomach. And the night time is the place where we cleanse, we detoxificate, and the body gets rest. We don't want to put stress on the body by giving him another meal. So my humble recommendation is no food between iftar and suhoor except water, herbal teas, anything herbal, anything warm, something like that. And you could try that. You could try that, and you could see the effects. You could see the effects. So I'm going also to talk about sleep. I'm going to end it to wrap it up. Sleep is really important, but what the mistake that we do in Shahr Ramadan is that we stay late at night, and we sleep in the morning. And we should know that in Shahr Ramadan, we should not change the normal habits that we have. Still, night is for sleeping and day is for work, even if it's Shahr Ramadan. I could have a few extra hours in the morning, but it doesn't mean that I should stay all night awake and all day asleep. That's when I do that, it means that I'm reversing the laws of nature, the laws that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put in the nature. When there is sun, I should be awake. When there is moon, I should be asleep. So that's why Rasulullah has said that staying up late is just for people who are studying or who are praying or they are doing something important. But if in Shahr Ramadan I want to stay up late just to watch movies and TVs, that would not be a good idea. It's better to sleep and function during the day. So that's why the only excuse that can keep us awake during Shahr Ramadan is if we want to have any worship program. Otherwise, it's better to be to sleep and then wake up, in your regular wake ups. So I still have maybe 10 minutes. Can I continue? Because I think I should end up in 5 minutes, but I may take longer time, just for a short time longer. Let me see your. Okay. So, okay, I'm going to continue. Just those, like I'm supposed to have 5 more minutes more, but if anyone he wants to leave earlier, please, he can. So, suhoor is in this month is a must, and this is what Rasulullah says. You cannot fast without having suhoor. And this is a mistake that we do. We say, no, we don't want to have suhoor. He said, Rasulullah, one of the hadith, that you should minimum, if you don't want to eat, that's fine, but minimum you should have a dates and water. And this is really important. So because the suhoor equals your breakfast. So if you want to energy during the day, if you don't want to feel um, tired during the day, you should really focus on the suhoor. But now we are going to say what to eat. So the minimum that you can have for suhoor is warm water, again, because it will be nighttime and night is cold, has a cold nature, so we need something warm. And in your suhoor, you could have the dates and you could have the warm water. There's another recommendation which is really good from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, like concerning this, is that to have 21 black raisins in the morning. The first thing that you do in the morning, it will give you the energy. Like this, you could have it on the suhoor in addition to your dates. It will give you the energy. It will prevent bad breath during the day. This is just, so you could have your warm water, you could have your fruits, you could have dates, you could have the 21 of raisins, and you could have even the seven seven pieces of black seeds, habbat al barakah, in the morning. The first thing, like in suhoor, 7 seeds of habbat al barakah, the cup of warm water, the dates, and the other things. So this is for suhoor. Try to have dates, almonds. Some people they like to have like lentils, soups, bread with cheese. If it's a whole bread, some vegetables, that's fine. You could include some basil, some spearmint, it's really good for bad breath. But what the Prophet said is that the best food for suhoor are dates. So we have to keep this in mind. Um, so at suhoor, we should avoid the heavy meals, no meat, no fish, no chicken, no fat foods, no salty foods, no spicy foods. And we should really be aware that we should not have too much tea during the night because it's going to cause dehydration. The more you have tea during the night, then the more you go to the bathroom, and then you are going to be end up with dehydration during the day. And also, we should note that completely avoid drinking cold water, cold milk, black tea, coffee, yogurt, watermelon, and fish on suhoor. This is really important. You cannot have yogurt, especially yogurt, watermelon, and fish. Anything cold in nature is going to cause you problems in the morning. So some of the hadith says that if you want to kill someone, give him yogurt and fish. Then because it's going to increase his coldness in the body, and this can lead to death. So we don't want to have anything cold. You can have milk, raw milk, but you should have it warm, not cold. So if you drink warm milk, you should on your suhoor you should not eat any fruits. Always milk is considered like something that you eat either with dates or almonds, but not with any other meal. So if you have milk, you cannot have anything else except dates or almonds or something like that. And another something for suhoor is that sometimes we have our suhoor, we do our prayer, and then we go directly to sleep. And I know this is a habit that many of us does, and this is a big mistake because we need some time to digest what we have eaten. So that's why it's good for the digestion. And the other thing is that Uh, um, Sleeping, the worst time to sleep is between Fajr and sunrise. And this is according to many hadith. And there's a lot of istihbab. It's really recommended to be awake between Fajr and sunrise and to be reciting the Quran. If you don't want to recite the Quran or do anything of A'mal, you just you can hang out, you just sit on your phone, you can just do anything. But this time between Fajr and sunrise is the time where we get rid of our toxins, and it's the time when we get the spiritual and all of the bliss things and all of the good things and all of the arzaq get decreed too, like your rizq, your sustenance, the spiritual one and the material one in life, they are going to be decreed in this time. So you don't want to be one of those who are sleeping and not benefiting from this time. So if we are in a type of people that we don't care about our spiritual sustenance that we take or our spiritual blessedness that we take during this time, at least we should take care about our bodies. Like we don't want our toxins to be at this time. So this is a big mistake. If you have your suhoor, stay until sunrise. By if you eat your if you sleep by 10 or 11, which is really regular time for sleeping, you should be awake up by Fajr, and you don't have the desire to sleep back again. So, like, 6 hours in Shahr Ramadan, they should be really good. What we usually do is we usually do the opposite. Shahr Ramadan becomes a month for sleeping, but it's not a month for sleeping, it's a month for hard working. It's a month of learning, it's a month of ibadah. So that's why I should take care about these things to do the best I can do. One note I want to mention really quickly is that eating a lot of food during the suhoor or during the iftar, it doesn't guarantee you that you are not hungry. Some people, they drink a lot of water. They just before the imsak time, they say, okay, it's a guarantee for not being thirsty, but it's not the case. So if you eat so much, that doesn't mean that you are not going to be hungry the other day. Okay, so and always remember that hadith where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says the best time when a person is close to his Lord is when he is hungry and when he is in sujood. So it's not a month of overeating and oversleeping, it's a month of hard working. So I just have here, I'm going to end in the last couple of things I want to say. We just have a really important recommendation from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, and it's mentioned in Fatih al-Jinan what we should do in the first day of Shahr Ramadan. And he says the one who pours some rose water on his face in the first day of Ramadan will be safe that day from the depression, and if he pours on his head, will be safe from meningitis in that year. So just by simple thing, which is just putting some rose water on our faces and rose water on our head, that is going to be a great protection. It just takes seconds. Wash your face with warm water and put some with rose water and put some on your top of the head. You can find these things in Fatih al-Jinan. There's something about like some of concerns that we have during this month, which is about bad breath, constipation, gas and bloating, and headaches. There's no much time to go into details, but for bad breath, we could have, black raisins daily in the morning, 21. And, numbers are really important. When Rasulullah says 21, which means 21, you have to count them. You can have an apple in your suhoor, avoid sleeping after suhoor. If you use the miswak, it's really good to prevent the bad breath, and using the warm water. Other considerations for like constipation, people, they have sometimes constipation because they eat so much refined food, so much sugars, so much white flour, so much all of these things, and they don't have a lot of salads or vegetables, so they end up with constipation. So here we advise that you should, eat less fatty foods, eat less refined food, increase your water intake, use whole things instead. You could have soaked figs in water from put them at the night, have them and suhoor. You could have prunes, apple juices, or at least you could add chia seeds in your drinks, whatever you are drinking. Add chia seed, and you could add chia seed at the beginning when you break your fast. You could add chia seeds there, at the, when you break your fast, so with honey and all of these things. um, so for gas and bloating, it's usually the cause is overeating, or eating spicy foods, or eating foods that cause gas producing foods. So in order to deal with that, you should not overeat, not eating fried foods. And if you are dealing with cabbage, lentils, all of these things, you can add cumin, and while you are cooking, it will help reduce the gas and bloating. Also, for the headaches, we have some problems, especially at the beginning of the day, the beginning days of Shahr Ramadan. Usually, headaches are caused by dehydration, which means you are dehydrated if you have a headache, which means that you didn't have a lot of water. You don't have a lot of water in your system, or because it's maybe of the caffeine or tobacco withdrawal, or maybe because you are exhausted during the day. So you have to be on your own pace, do your things, or whatever you can do. Do not hurry, do not rush, and it could be lack of sleep and hunger too. But I'm not going, general remedy for a headache is just to increase your fluid intake, your fresh fruits, fresh juices, water, herbal teas, anything like that. But if the headache doesn't go by increasing fluid intake, come please ask me, because it depends whether if the headache is in your left side, right side, then there are specific remedies for that. Just one thing I want to mention, the Eid day, we will usually have a big problem. And this problem at the Eid day is that we just destroy every habit that we did in just 30 days. So if for 30 days you were having this healthy lifestyle, then at the end of this 30 days training program, you don't want to destroy what you did in just the first day. So in the first day, which is Eid, try to have, not to eat um, early morning, for example, or have your breakfast but don't have a lunch. So try to do something which is not, force the stomach to have all of this amount of food at the same time. And usually 8 days the day where we have a lot of sweets and we have a lot of things, but we should always know that we can do the same sweet in a healthy way. Still, I can eat sweet. Still, we can make our own desserts, but it's just a matter of exchanges. Instead of using the white flour, I use the whole flour. Instead of using the refined sugar, I use the cane sugar, or the coconut sugar, or I use dates. So it's just a matter of exchanging for the healthy alternatives. And it's not that I'm not allowed to eat sweets. Um, so this is one thing. So imagine that by closing our physical mouth, we are going to open our spiritual mouth in this month. So with fasting and really, um, let's say, doing whatever Islamically we are supposed to do, we are going to see all of these blessings that Allah Subhanahu wa Taala tell us told us about. So after a 1 month of purification, which is a spiritual and a physical purification, we should have developed the willpower and the mental strength and the resilience. After this 30 days program, which my soul is dominating over my body and my senses, I cannot say after Shahar Ramadan, no, I cannot not eat that, and I have to eat this, and I have to do this, which means that I didn't reach a stage where my soul is dominating over my body and my senses. So in psychology, they say that you need 21 days to change any habit. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying us for that clearly, either 21 days or 40 days to make any habit. So if you really, from the first day of Shahr Ramadan, you had this decision that you want to make this resolution for your health, for the sake of your ultimate destination, then the your willpower will be strong. You will have a mental strength, and during this month you will be really focusing on your goals. And the end of this training period, which is 30 days, you will reach to this willpower, and you will reach to this mental strength where your soul is dominating, and you will have this resilience. So, and this is part of the reason of fasting. Fasting is not to make us hungry, but it's to teach you to be patient. It teach you not to follow your own desires, right? Because when you are fasting, then many things that you cannot do. So by fasting for 30 days and following a healthy and doing a healthy iftar and following the healthy thing, then you will have a willpower, you will have a mental strength, you have a resilience, and you will keep this habit after Shahr Ramadan. So that's why Shahr Ramadan is a great opportunity for these major changes. It is that the major changes that we have in that we want to do, we can do it just by starting with Shahr Ramadan. That's what I want to say. So if after Shahr Ramadan you didn't reach that stage where your willpower and your mental strength and your resilience is strong, then you have to ask yourself, why I didn't reach that. Probably there's something that you should do that you didn't do it. So that's the purpose of fasting. So we keep this habit after Shahr Ramadan, and then you are gone for the whole year. Now, after 30 days, you are a different human being with a clean body, with a more strong soul, which is able of being the boss, not the body, and you will have a new reality. Which after that, you will feel a lot of things that's going to change in your mind, even your mental powers, even in the way you take decisions, even in the way you deal with life problems, because it is related to that part. That's why ulama al-akhlaq, the scholars of akhlaq, say that if you want to reach that stage, you should start with food, because it is the basic. It is the thing that you are creating your reality from. When you're eating it, when you're digesting it, it is creating you. So this is the basic thing. If you are eating toxins, you are not going to be spiritually healthy, and they are connected. So after Shahr Ramadan, if you follow this for 30 days, it will be a good training program where you change your habits, and we could use that because the soul should be strong during this month, and then keep it through the whole year. Um, and at the end, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, this is what he says. What he said, you have been made the physician of yourself. You are the healer of yourself. You could go to a doctor, he can give you medications. You could come to a like consult, like a traditional medicine consultation. I can give you diet, I can give you something good for your body temperament, but you are the one who is supposed to do it. I can give you herbs, but I cannot do it myself to you. You know what I mean? So what I mean is that um, you could have the best nutritional program on earth with the best doctor and the best medications and the best herbs, but still you don't achieve that because you didn't make the resolution yourself. You are the healer of yourself. You are the physician of yourself. We are just an intermediate thing to make it easy for you, to give you, to help you, to guide you. But the actual doing is on you. It's not on me or anyone else. So that's why it's a personal decision that reflects how much we have of willpower. And you should know that if you are not able to heal yourself, nobody can heal you, even if you go to the most amazing doctor and clever doctor. So that's why sometimes if we see in our practice that people, like we ask them, gee, are you ready to stop doing the things that are causing harm for you? If they are not ready to give up the things that are causing harm for them, then we cannot help too much. We just can talk. But again, it's their decision, it's their resolution. So you are the decision, that the physician of yourself. Um, and just one last thing is that we should always remember Imam Ali alayhi salam, fasting of the heart is greater than fasting of the tongue, and fasting of the tongue is greater than fasting of the stomach. So actually, the one who is fasting all of these 30 days is the heart, to achieve that khushu', to achieve all of these things by the help of the food, by the help of the lifestyle, by the help of that. And the last thing, Imam Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa when we read the khutbah of Istiqbal Shahr Ramadan, when he was when he was, talking about the welcoming Shahr Ramadan, uh, people asked him, "O Rasulullah, what should we ask Allah?" Like, they asked Rasulullah, "What should we ask Allah in this month?" Like, tell us the most important thing that we should ask Allah in this month. And Rasulullah answered, Asalullah al-afiyah. Ask Allah the well-being. So Rasulullah didn't say ask Allah for money, ask Allah. Even he didn't say ask Allah for your akhirah. He said ask Allah for the well-being, because the well-being has all of those aspects. If you have a if you have well-being, if you have afiyah, if you have, which is more than health, if you have well-being, then you are physically okay, you are spiritually okay, you are psychologically okay, and then your akhirah is guaranteed, because you are okay on all aspects. So that's why Rasulullah emphasized, and he says, ask Allah well-being and afiyah, because it is one of the major things and important things that we should ask Allah in this month. So that's why always if we can keep this dua in our ruku' and our qunut and our sujood, that Allahumma inna nas'aluka al-afiyah, all of these things. And we always remember why we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for al-afiyah. It's not just for our physical matters, but just because it is a way to reach our ultimate destination. So always we remember this. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for your time.